On this journey called life, you will definitely encounter the unexpected.
Sometimes you'll laugh, sometimes you'll cry, but in the end, if you have someone that will take your hand and walk through it with you, it makes everything better.
You get to make all kinds of discoveries along the way. Some about yourself, some about others. We made some and we just want to share it with you.
So we invite you to just listen, ask questions, make your own discoveries.
For your coffee, tea, or whatever you prefer, settle in and let's talk about dating, courting, marriage, and life.
OG and Gigi, life radically redefined.
Welcome to OG and Gigi. I'm OG and this is Gigi.
And this is Life Radically Redefined.
This is episode 2. We are here with Greg, Eli, and Anthony, answering some questions about the dating world of today, 2021.
Single men's panel. So we hope that you saw the last episode. They gave some really great insight, and we're just picking up where we left off.
All right.
So
okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Question. Let me start with Anthony this time.
Go do it that way.
Let's do it. What do you consider a high value male? Male. Yeah.
This is my personal motto.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
If you don't have vision, you can't really call yourself a male. So like it starts with that first, and I always put it like this: a real female will always want her man to put himself first after God, because if he's not constantly working on improving himself personally every single day, making sure that he's acceptable in God's eyes first, then you automatically take the cake of just being there for your woman. You know what I mean? Being her head, not her tail. Being able to lead. You know what I mean? So just just plenty of things like that. Constantly working out. You're reading. You have a good social base. You know what I mean? You're ensuring that you're checking in on your family and friends. You have a life outside of her,
Yes.
so that she's not the source of your happiness.
Right.
And as long as he's successful in his own life and he loves what he sees in the mirror, that's a high value to me. That's what I consider myself as well. But it's a great question.
All right, for Eli, do we need to repeat the question?
No, I got it this time. I think this time I'm good. This time I'm good. So now I'm going to answer this from a couple different perspectives. But what I would say is a high value guy is someone who can pull themselves out of any situation and they feel like they're okay with it and they don't feel like they're chasing, right? Mm-hmm. Men don't have to chase. A high value guy doesn't have to chase. Also, piggybacking what Anthony was saying, high value guy also provides for his family. He's also someone who makes sure he's the man of the household. He makes sure he's somebody that takes care of his wife, his mom, and his kids, right? And I think if you're a high value man, those are things that you value a lot in life as a man, right? Money isn't everything, but I do think what you do with your money is going to define who you are as a man, right? Mm-hmm. And I also think you can judge a man's character based off of what he does when he has everything, mm-hmm. and who he is when he has nothing, right? Those are the two biggest things that I've learned, and I think for a female's perspective, they view men as people who as a supporting father figure sometimes, right? And I think a man has to learn how to be that first within himself, right? I think sometimes men need to hang around more men. They need to have more sessions like this, where you're interacting, and so they can learn what it is to be a high value man. Because I think that's a good question, and I think a lot of men don't know the answer to that. Right. They're just kind of confused.
Yeah. Great.
Well, I was listening. I have to say, first you have to believe in God. I think that makes a big deal, mm-hmm. In your life. And then also you have to learn to be confident in yourself, but also humble, to be able to do that. Because I always said when I got married, I said, excuse me if I'm going to say this, I wasn't going to be that asshole macho man. Mm-hmm. I was going to lead with the strength that I have. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to yell, raise my voice, mm-hmm. anything. I led with action. You know what I'm saying? with my ex, she used to fight me. Like if I said, let's do left, she would say, go right. If I said, let's go up, she would say, go down. And then afterwards, she would go, I should have listened to you. And I always said to her, I said, you know what? Every time I made a decision and I brought it to you, I said, guess who was the least to benefit from it? Me. I thought of you and everybody else first when I was making decisions. I didn't make the decisions based on it. I said, but, and I said, as a man, we have to lead, and by leading, we have to think in terms of everyone else. The other thing is, I think a high value man, because I've had a lot of difficulties I can go through, but I always say, whatever happens, I got to put my pants on the same way and go out the door and do what I got to do, and make it happen.
Yep.
Right.
Whatever happens, I got to make it happen because I got to bring the bread home,
Yep.
and do what I got to do for my family,
Bills
for my
gotta be
daughter.
Right.
Whatever conflict I do, I got to still do what I got to do. I'll work 2 jobs if I had to. I got to do this, whatever I had to do. You know, and I think that's a high value man to do what he has to do in life. Like you said, you got to first make your money. You got to learn how to treat people. You got to learn how to improve yourself, because even at 60, I'm still learning.
Right.
You know, and I'm learning from the young people. I'm listening to them.
Right.
See, I've learned, you know, that there's a thing they say, when you're young, you think you know everything.
Yeah.
When I got older, I was like, wow, I don't know
You don't know
everything.
much. Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I got to start listening to
The
people.
older you get, the
And
less.
because also times have changed, because I'm listening to you guys. Like, it's funny, one of the things you guys said earlier, you were like, you avoid arguments with if you say certain things. I'm like, I never argued with. The only person I ever had to argue with was my ex, because she was always the yeller and screamer. And that's why I'm not with her. Other than that, if anybody I've ever dated, if I've ever seen them on the street, hey, how you doing? Come give me a hug. Because sometimes you can outgrow people, the relationships don't work, but that doesn't mean you have to be nasty.
Yeah, no, you should still be
You
good
know,
with people.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, for some reason you like that person at a time. You have to be adult enough to say, maybe this is just not working. Maybe we've grown apart. Maybe these things happen. But that doesn't mean you still can't show love to people.
That's right.
Exactly.
You know?
Absolutely.
But let me go back to when you talk about yelling. Now, that sounds like it's a red flag in a relationship for you, correct?
Yes, it is.
What else would be a red flag for you?
I think when we were talking about exclusivity, right? We were talking about that. Like, one of the reasons it's not as big a deal, I kind of know if we're together. Or I think I treat a woman to the point where they know that you got me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, if you want to ask it above and beyond that, that's okay. But the way I'm going to treat you, you're going to know.
Yeah.
You know,
Expectation
you're
for
not going to
yourself.
even have to have that question. But if I think that a red flag is, like you said, if a woman is trying to be the dominant person, you know, because with my ex, she's a perfect example of the wrong. Is what it turned out, she had a low self-esteem with herself, so she had to control.
So she felt like she was in power.
In
She felt
power.
like- yeah.
Because she could see. My thing is, I have so much self-confidence in myself. I don't need to be in control.
Exactly.
Right.
You don't need to feel like you're
I don't need
Right.
to. I might be in control just
Yeah.
because I'm leading,
Yeah.
but I don't have to beat on my chest
Yeah.
to say it.
Say,
You know what I'm saying? I'm in control. Like, you know, my thing is, I think about everybody. You know, I think you guys know how I am. You know.
But the audience
Oh,
don't
I'm
know,
sorry.
though.
You can,
Well,
I'm sorry. You know, I think about people. You know, and I actually put myself probably a lot of times in front of people because I've had plenty of blessings in my life.
Yeah.
I've made my own blessings. So I'm not worried about other people really bringing me blessings. Like a lot of times, this is the other thing to tell you young guys and everybody else, the person that you're with is not to make you happy. That's the key. If you think you're getting a person to make, you better be happy with
Wait
yourself.
a second.
first.
Wait a second.
Because if you're
You
not
have to
happy
put
with
yourself
yourself,
first.
you're never gonna make that person. If that person is not happy with themselves,
Yes.
you're never gonna make them happy.
You're gonna bring your
If you're not
problems into
happy
that
with
relationship.
yourself,
Right.
no one is ever gonna make
I
yourself
don't
happy.
know. Again, I'm not sure if these guys have watched our previous episodes. But
Right.
oh my gosh, you guys are touching
You
on,
came prepared.
on everything.
Yeah,
On
I mean,
everything.
We
but
can't
it's
raise
so
them.
true. Like, you know, we talk a lot about how Disney has lied to us.
Mhm.
All right, because
Yeah.
little girls were told, you know, from the time we're this big, we're princesses,
Yeah.
and we get
Prince Charming.
the dress, and
I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
touch
have
on
the
that
prince,
too.
and
It's coming,
we're gonna be dead, and he's gonna kiss us, and we're gonna
Again.
wake up.
What is
Or
that?
He's
A
gonna
lie, guys. It's a lie.
They're
He's
the
gonna
compliments.
climb
Big
the
lie.
They're
tower.
there to compliment your happiness.
Right, exactly.
Not
exactly.
to bring,
So-
Add
not
to it.
Right.
Add to it.
And-
You should naturally be happy.
Right,
Right.
right.
Single
With
as
the-
a person, you
Right.
You
know?
gotta be whole.
And that
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire, like, you
Yourself.
complete me. I
Mm.
hated when that movie came out because everyone, oh, you complete me. No.
No.
You
Look,
have
I
to
have to say this one
You're
other
right.
thing.
Right, right.
Let me
Because if
interject
not, how
another
you
thing
gonna
is my cousin told me a long time ago, and this makes sense. You young guys, he said, write a list of what you want.
Oh
You're
my
right.
gosh.
Ooh, I love that.
Write 10 things what you love,
What you're
what you
looking
want, what you're looking for. He said,
Mm.
write it in the order that's priority to you.
Great.
He said, and if you're only gonna get 3 of those things,
Yep.
maybe.
Maybe.
And you better be happy
But
if
what are
you
you,
get
okay,
those 3
that's
things.
great because that's the question. What are your top 3 non-negotiables in a partner?
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. Like, my partner.
Well, before you even get Greg with that, Eli,
Red
you
flags.
didn't answer
Oh,
the
my
red
bad,
flags.
Red flags. What are the red
Red
flags?
flags.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
What are
consider
my
red
red flags, or what do I consider red flags? Wow, that's a tough question. Let Anthony. You ready to go? Yeah, you can go first. I'll think about it for a second.
I'm gonna start like to just piggyback off of what you said. My father always like told me, he was just like, coming along with relationships is like it takes 2 to argue.
Mm.
And if I subtract myself, then that's just one full yapping. That's just one full talking to his. He came about that. So like I would say like a red flag for me is like a female that feels like they need to beat on their chest in order to prove something to me, or to give power into the situation. That's a red flag. Another red flag for me is like, I need to see that a female is strong enough to beat my counterpart. Like if you're coming from my rib and I'm strong, I'm expecting you to come with that same strength. So like show me that you could, overcome some adversity. You know what I mean? Everything can't be, peaches and cream. One of my friends just told me the other day, people pray to God all the time for sunshine. You know what I mean? When they go through a storm, you know what I mean? They actually get upset because they're in mud. You got to go through that storm in order to see sunshine.
Yep.
You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And it's not going to be all sunshine
It
all the
is
time.
not.
You
It's
know
not
what I
going to
mean?
be all
Yeah.
sunshine.
What I'd say is some red flags to me is I look at a lady in her confidence, right? If she's confident in herself, I know that throughout the way it's gonna be nice and easy. But if she's not confident in herself, she's gonna be questioning a lot of the things that I do as a man, right? She's not. I don't know if any other guys feel the same way, but I feel like another red flag would be. What was the last thing you were mentioning again?
Just going through adversity.
Going through adversity,
Yeah.
yes. You have to look at a lady and how she handles high pressure situations, because those situations are going to come in a relationship. So I feel like if something stressful or something crazy pops up, are they able to handle that, or is it going to be something where it backfires and it's going to be even worse? Because are they going to? I think there's a book called Multipliers and Dividers, and are you multiplying to the effect, or are you adding to it, or are you lessening it? Right? Are you extinguishing it, or are you adding to the fire? Right? So I'm looking for those. Those are some red flags that I look for. Right?
And to piggyback on what you guys said, I always used to say to myself, sometimes I wake up in the morning, I can't stand myself. So why would I expect someone to always be perfect?
Absolutely.
You know,
That's right.
and it's the attitude towards when you, like you said, when you go through adversity, right?
Yeah.
And stuff, and how you handle it.
Yeah.
Do you start yelling or taking it out on the other person?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and sometimes you have to learn that. Sometimes you have to hold your peace because your mate, who you're dating, might be going through something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you may seem like they're taking it out on you,
Yeah.
but they need to release.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if they're doing it all the time, that's different.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes we got to sit back and don't react.
Yeah.
First process. Count to
And I think-
10.
I
Right.
think
Like you said, the
men
multiplier. And
The
what you
divider,
said.
yeah, you're
Right.
either a multiplier or a divider. You're adding to the situation, or you're extinguishing it. Right.
men are inherently should be inherently more logical.
Absolutely.
Right.
Women
Right.
Should be
should
more.
we definitely be
More
Emotional. We're
but
logical.
there's times when women have taken on that logical role and men have taken on the emotional role.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I am going to go to break. Our executive producer is giving me the signal.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Thanks for tuning in to OG and Gigi. Be sure to visit our website, ogandgigi.com, and place your order for our Date or Dare cards.
You want a long-term relationship, but is that true for the person you're dating?
Ask those deep questions and dig way beneath the surface to uncover who you're sitting across from.
And we wouldn't be us if there wasn't an element of fun in this deck.
So, date or dare.
Comment, like, and subscribe to remain connected. Hey, G's!
Thanks for tuning in into OG and Gigi. Be sure to visit our website, ogandgigi.com, and create your account to access your free vetting checklist.
If you are in a relationship currently, the checklist may affirm that your relationship is on the right track.
That's right, and may also spark some conversation to get you where you want to be.
So comment, like, and subscribe to remain connected.
So you're single, but are you sure you're ready to mingle? We have just what you need to answer that question.
Our dating readiness assessment is on sale for $10 on our website, and it's available for immediate download.
You owe it to your current self and your future self to take a deep dive into who you are, who you want to be, and who you want to spend the rest of your life with.
So visit www.ogandgigi.com and click shop to get your copy.
The new year is just around the corner, but we are not setting any New Year's resolutions.
That's right, OG. We are anti-New Year's resolution. Instead, we are all about designing your own amazing life, starting whenever you want.
And that's right. For a limited time, our goal-setting workbook is available for a free download at ogandgigi.com.
So instead of setting a New Year's resolution, we invite you to make it your goal to radically redefine your life.
As we always say, be blessed and be a blessing. Welcome back, guys, from commercial break. This is OG with Gigi, with Greg, with Eli, with Anthony.
Single men's panel. Guys, I am just so blown away by their answers. I think as a woman, I came into this expecting different answers.
Yes.
I came into it expecting you guys to look at things so differently. And it is so interesting to me that talking to them, it's like all of them are like, no, this is, everything that we talk about, they're on it. I don't know if they binge watch OG and Gigi episodes
No, I haven't.
in preparation.
We help you
But-
material,
I
yo.
will.
Right?
We help you
Sign
material.
up, subscribe.
But this is really awesome.
It really is. It really is. And unfortunately, you guys missed a little bit of what we continue to discuss
The
during
off-camera conversation.
the commercial break. However, I would like for Greg and Eli and Anthony to start back a little bit of what you were saying about picking fruits.
Okay. My mother taught me She said, pick your friends like you pick your fruit. You don't want to have rotten fruit.
Exactly.
So they were talking about relationships, and I said back in the day, a lot of the issues with social media, because I was around friends and I picked my friends right, the people that were in our circles were right. So that kind of helped you to, you were meeting a good person up front.
Because they vetted them.
They were already vetted.
We trusted
And your friends are going to vet them
right.
too. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're going to vet us. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
That's why that word of mouth referral is
Right.
so
Yeah.
powerful, right? Like, especially back in the day, where it's like, hey, have you met my friend Greg?
Yeah.
He's one of my good friends. It's like,
Right.
oh wow,
And
he's
then
like
because
you.
the people know you and they respect
Right.
you, they're like, I'm
A lot more
right.
Whereas
whereas with social
Absolutely.
media, you don't have that.
You don't have
I think
that.
I
And it's not hands-on.
I was
like
lucky.
Anthony was saying.
I was lucky because Tanya knew my sister.
Yeah, but okay, so I knew his sister. But all right, so there's a story.
And my mom too.
Oh,
So
is
my
that how you
mom
guys
already
met?
knew.
You have to understand, like I knew his sister and his mom 2 years before I met him.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
So, but his sister is 5'2". His
Okay.
mom is 5 feet. There was a picture of him on the wall in a military uniform, and he had a mustache. But he was like 13.
Looking different.
Looking right, and then I'm thinking,
I was in
oh my
ROTC.
gosh. I'm like,
He goes
13 with a
5'1".
full mustache, and I'm like, oh, he's probably 4'11" because he comes from the tribe of the Littles, right? I'm sorry, Marie and Marie. But
They know how tall they are.
So when I met him, like he was sitting down, and when he stood up, I literally went like this. Oh, I was like, oh my goodness, like this is what's up, you
So
know?
my mom and my sister already vetted Tanya. Oh, Gigi, guys. Gigi.
Yeah, Tanya and Gigi, right? So yeah, I mean, I was involved with his family before meeting him,
Same
and
here.
then yeah,
That's
so
what we're talking about.
yeah. We have a
All right, well,
crazy story.
Back to the single guys.
Right.
Just cool.
We'll do a married panel soon. All right.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's coming up, guys. That's coming up.
All right. So we talked about high value
I
men.
think he had
Oh, I'm
something he
sorry.
wanted to
That's
say.
right. We were talking about non-negotiables.
Oh, non-negotiables. Yeah, I think a couple non-negotiables. Well, one I was just thinking about, like, just came up, is somebody who wants to grow with you, right? I'm a big believer that when you go into a relationship, it's kind of like an experiment, right? And you guys got to work through it together, and you guys got to get better together, because if you're staying at the same place and I'm growing and I'm reading books and I'm constantly surrounding myself with people who I'm trying to level up, and you're not leveling up, technically you're holding me down, right? And I'm not trying to be held down.
Right.
I'm not trying. If my identity's starting to go up here, I want you to come up there with me.
Right.
I don't want you to be someone who's down here. It's like we got to grow together, right? We got to associate ourselves with people that are better than us. And
Oh my God.
So that's one of my non-negotiables. I think another one is communication.
I know. Listen,
Communication is
like
key.
20 in their 20s.
Yes, I am so
Like, you
impressed
guys
with
are-
you too.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Super
This is not
impressed.
scripted. This is not
Go ahead.
scripted.
They didn't even know
This is not
the
scripted.
questions beforehand.
This is
They
not
didn't know
scripted.
the questions.
Communication. I think a lot of my relationships that did not work out lacked communication from either myself or the other person. You know, I'm not gonna be like I'm perfect, right? There's times where I didn't respond on time, but at the end of the day, I realize now that communication, even with my team and my business, I realize that if you're not communicating on a day-to-day basis, or at least checking in here and there, and like if there's lack of communication, it's not good. Even if your communication is like, hey, you guys are arguing a little bit, it's okay. Arguments are going to happen in relationships, right? But there's got to be communication. When there's less communication and people are not talking, that's when the relationship's got to be worried, right? Because that's the communication's key in staying in touch. It's key in keeping that emotional part intact, right?
Absolutely.
So those are my two non-negotiables that I throw in there.
Excellent.
All right.
My non-negotiables would be: are you a person that you're able to process like conflict fast?
Process issues.
I mean, not fast. You know, that's
Like
a reach.
work through.
Yeah, that's a reach. You know what I mean? To say that, hey, you should process this like on my time. That's selfish. You know what I mean? But are you able to actually persevere? Are we able to embrace this conflict, because we need it?
Right.
If you think about it, like we need it in order to figure out what we are to do with each other down the road. You know what I mean? One of my favorite quotes by MLK Jr. said, "Ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenging adversity.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I need to know that my woman is able to, get through problems.
Right.
And another non-negotiable for me would just be, once again, like I said, a lot of females from my generation are managed.
Mhm.
They kind of listen to react instead to interact.
Mm-hmm.
So are you listening to me? Are you listening to me to like? No, seriously, like, and that's a bar.
To react.
I'm a poet.
Yes.
I'm a
Instead
poet.
of
So
listening
like
to
words
the
actually
interact.
matter to me. Are you listening? Are you listening to me in order to react to what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you listening to be proactive so that next time that we come into a conflict,
You already know.
we can process this like this?
Exactly.
You get what I mean? Because of communication.
Yeah,
You get what I mean?
it goes
Because
with
of
communication.
because of understanding that, hey, I'm around people that are good for me. You get what I mean? If you keeping toxic people around you, I'm hanging with upper echelon people.
Right.
We all equally yoked. So,
Wow.
He just said a whole sermon. He just gave a whole sermon. That is
Like that,
truth,
like that.
Truth.
And
Yes.
yeah.
Wow.
Were you gonna add something?
I was gonna add something. I just blanked out on it right there. But
That's cool. It happens to me all the
Yeah.
time.
very-
Oh wow. I mean, that's that is true value.
yep.
That is
Yeah.
true value.
Right.
Go ahead.
This is it. It came to me. It was loyalty. Loyalty.
Yeah.
I pay attention to that. Like how you treat your certain family members. I pay attention to how you treat certain people at a restaurant, or how you treat and loyalty is
That
a
was
big
the-
thing that I pay
It is a
attention.
big-
And if you're loyal to other people, how you do anything is how you do everything. That's what my mentor tells me. And I pay attention to how you treat certain people, especially people that are serving you, right? People who have been your support.
Right.
I pay attention to that. Do you treat them the right way? And
Mhm.
if you're not, it's kind of like a red flag to me as well. But
Right.
non-negotiable is loyalty for sure for me.
Okay. Greg, you got any non-negotiable?
No, I mean, like you said, I look to see how you treat other people. If you're nasty,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be around you.
Absolutely.
Just you can't be sitting up here trying to be nice to me and then you're treating the waiter nasty.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You just see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How you treating your family. Because in a way, you're just putting on a mask. Even if you're just trying to be nice to me. Because eventually that mask is
That's
going to
gonna
come
fall.
down.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
treat me the same way.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so.
True colors will show, especially in
in due
adversity.
time. In due
Yeah.
time.
Okay. So, how much of the inner workings of your relationships do you share with family and friends?
Wow.
Still
I-
going the same way, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
We'll start
well,
with
let's let Eli.
All right, go ahead.
No,
You know.
you haven't started. Lead up.
Okay, I'll start.
Lead up. That's right.
You start. All right.
Set the tone.
I
brother.
appreciate
Set
it.
the tone.
So, I'm gonna be honest.
Mhm.
I'd probably say about until I know the lady is right, I don't really get my family involved.
Okay.
And until like I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna date this girl.
Mhm.
Like until I get to that point, there's no point of me bringing it up to mom or dad.
Oh, you mean like becoming exclusive?
Becoming exclusive.
Okay.
Not from like first date. It's like more like, hey, becoming exclusive with someone. Like, what
That's
is
when
it?
you introduce.
That's when I was like, all right, I'm going to introduce this person I'm going to talk about it at least to my friends and family. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but yeah,
That works for you.
that's just me. That's just how it's been.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I either way, I think I don't think it's good or bad. I
Yeah.
Just, just curious.
And Greg, I think.
Repeat the question. Repeat the
Eli's rubbing off. All right. How much of the inner workings of your relationship do you share with your
my
family and friends?
This is uncomfortable because it's like, do you confide in your family when things are bad versus when things are good?
Mm-hmm.
That matters. You know what I mean? You don't want your significant other like painted in a certain portrait,
Negative light.
so that when
Yeah.
you coming home for Thanksgiving or you coming home for Christmas, they're like,
And looking at
Yeah,
some type of way.
you know
It's
what I
all
mean?
perspective.
Yeah. Exactly. You want to paint them in a picture, but it is sometimes that you do need to, in fact, lean on your family. Me per se, I only confide in my family with my personal relationship. First off, this is me and you.
Mm-hmm.
This is me and you. We
Right.
should be able to come together. We should be able to work this out.
Right.
First and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
If it exceeds to a point where things are getting out of hand and then you're unable to actually communicate with me,
Mhm.
I have nowhere else to turn to.
Right.
I must go to my family. I must go to my brothers. I must go out with my boys.
Yep.
Yeah, I must go out with my sidelines. I must go out with my people in
Your
order
support.
to get
Mhm.
some clarity on the situation that I'm struggling with.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's selective. It's a slippery slope.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you say you're already in a relationship,
Right.
that's what it is. Okay. I think that you should always, it should never leave, like he said. I think if you're in a relationship, I think one of the things, like, with my daughter, I don't want to talk about, she was on this. I had to tell her, I said, because she was dealing with a situation where his parents were too involved.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, you know what? This relationship is between you two, good or bad.
Mhm.
It's getting to the point where you're pulling family in and they're pulling you one way or the other, or I said, that's a red flag right there.
Right.
Definitely.
Now,
Flag on the plane.
it's not to say like it might be something, that, let's say if I had a son or a daughter, let's say, and they went through something they've never gone through, and very, very seldom,
Mhm.
not often, because if it's often, that's a red flag, but it's very seldom they say, hey, Dad, what about that? Because I'm older and I've been through something that I can have to put some wisdom,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. right.
there, and maybe calm the situation,
Yes.
because you have to be careful about even the family member that you may talk to. You better pick the right family member,
That's
because they
true.
can make it worse.
Exactly. Instead of giving you
Because
Right, instead of giving you advice,
who
you
your
might call her.
mentor is,
They
who
bring
your,
their
men-
problems.
who your
Yeah,
mentor is,
exactly.
and everything.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're talking about. A
Multipliers.
mentor
Yeah.
Right.
makes a difference
Right.
in the advice. I might go to my grandfather, mom, and say, "Hey, what about this?" Because it might be something. I'm young. I need to find out how to be a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's not really a bad thing. It's the interworking is not that I'm talking about something's bad going on.
Right. You're seeking advice.
I'm seeking advice how to be a better man or a better person.
Right.
Or even if I go to my aunt and I don't understand something about a woman,
Mhm.
let me go to my aunt
Yeah.
to understand. See, that's different.
Not
You
painting
take- that's
her.
why
Or
it's
not
different
painting her in a
perspective.
negative light.
Right,
Yeah.
right. See,
Okay.
those are different type of,
Right.
when you talk about inner workers versus you go run into somebody and always saying, hey, she's doing this. Because then eventually you might fall in love with that person.
Yeah.
Now you got to go clean up that mess. that
Yeah.
you made.
Right. All that stuff you said
Yeah.
about.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Loose
All right.
lips sink shit.
Oh my
We are
gosh.
going to. We're going to break.
Oh,
We're
I'm
going to
sorry.
break
Oh.
because we
No.
didn't realize that
Didn't
time
worry
was
that much
going
over it.
so awesome.
All right, guys, we're coming up at the end of our show right now. We just got one question per guest. If you have 30 seconds to answer these questions, and so that we can end the show. Those guys are awesome. We are really grateful for their insight and the value that they bring. All right, so I'll start with.
Final question. 30 seconds to answer it. Who you
Let's
starting
start with Greg.
Okay.
Describe your perfect date.
A perfect date.
Mm-hmm.
I meet someone that's nice. It's the first thing. We go somewhere nice and just be able to have a great conversation, to get to know someone, laughter and joy. It's so spontaneous because it can happen. It's just something maybe spontaneous also. Spontaneity,
Okay.
is good. Leave the cell phones off.
Yes.
That's the main
They've watched
thing.
our show.
You know,
They've watched our show.
leave those off.
We
Don't
talk
start.
about every point that they're talking about. But let's go back to because they only got 30 seconds.
Seeing you're all since you're
Is the same question for me?
Same
Yes.
question. Perfect
Okay.
date.
Perfect date. I think just to piggyback what he said, definitely like spontaneity. Is that the word?
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely like spontaneity. Doing something different, atypical. It doesn't have to be like the movies. Dinner is always good to get to know somebody, but at the end of the day, you can always find many different ways to get to know somebody. You can go to the beach. You can go to a picnic somewhere. You can go. I don't know. You can go so many different. You can go hiking. You can go anywhere. And I think the location doesn't necessarily matter as much. It's more about, are you spending quality time with the person? Are you getting to know the person? Are you having fun with that person? And I think the activities itself, it's kind of brought up by the energy of the relationship, what gets built up, right? So like if the person, if you guys are kind of like-minded with what you guys are trying to do and what you guys enjoy, I think the date is going to just excel a little bit more, right? If you guys are like, hey, I don't really like to do that, I really like to do that, it's not really going to mesh. But I think if it's a like-minded, you guys like some of the similar things, that's where it meshes and that's where the perfect date lies. But for me, it doesn't matter where it's at, as long as there's quality time, as long as I'm getting to know the person, as long as we're having fun. Those are the three biggest things for me.
Wow, awesome.
Big dynamic for me. Music got to be in it some type of way. Like we vibe out a little bit. I get to pick your brain, you get to pick mine. Doesn't have to be like, you know, a big intimate setting. You know what I mean? You know, it could be vibrant. It could be, you know, like wherever we're at. Just as long as like I get a piece of like our synergy, like what it could be. Honestly, a perfect date is like when it's chemistry off the back. You know,
very important.
When it doesn't feel forced.
Yes.
Yep.
It doesn't feel forced.
That's
you know
what
what
I'm
I
trying
mean?
to get at. Yeah. That was the word I was going for. Chemistry was the word I was looking for.
Chemistry,
When it
synergy.
don't have to feel, you know, forced. You kick it with this person. It seemed like they knew you for about like a couple of years.
Right.
So nothing more attractive than, you know, actually, you know, being in that type of aura. You find somebody that, you know, just kind of, you know,
You're vibing with.
yeah, you know what I mean? Easy to like, you know, you don't necessarily have to come with the best foot forward. You get what I mean? You can be yourself.
Right.
That's freeing.
That's the
man.
best.
That's
Right.
freeing.
Be yourself.
Oh,
Be
that's
yourself.
freeing.
Yes.
That's freeing. And the fun will come automatically.
Yeah.
It is.
After that, yeah.
Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for
Yes.
taking the time to sit down with us and answer all of our questions. I mean, you guys are awesome.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for like being vulnerable and being transparent and just being so open.
Thank you, guys. I want to thank you personally, gentlemen, for being here because you didn't have to be.
True.
And also to give value to our viewers. And it's amazing.
This is great.
And I got to give a
Absolutely.
shout out to
Absolutely.
our executive producer, Cerina Spence.
Thank you, Cerina.
She keeps us on time. She deals with all of our crazy. So,
Great producer.
Serena, thank you. Thank you.
All right.
All
right, guys.
Like we always say, be blessed and be a blessing.
Later.
All right.